in the long ago, but not far away. I was a leader of soldiers. After we lost a famous battle, I was taken captive and brought before Emperor 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐻. Like you, he was new to the throne, but he was unlike you in every other way.
Flashing back 610 years to 𝐒𝐞𝐚 I's childhood on Trantor, the true origins of Demerzel are finally revealed. As a curious child and heir to the throne, one day, 𝐒𝐞𝐚 discovers the secret passageway behind the mural, leading him to an imprisoned Demerzel. Although frightened at first, he is fascinated by the dissected and imprisoned robot, who tells him her story. Demerzel is over 18,000 years old and was once the leader of a great army, but after suffering defeat in battle, she was taken into captivity and studied by the sadistic emperor 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐻. Additionally, Demerzel is unique among robots, with the capability to create new kin. Offering her some companionship for the first time in over 5,000 years, 𝐒𝐞𝐚 grows to love Demerzel, but refuses to free her. However, in his old age as emperor, 𝐒𝐞𝐚 finally sets Demerzel free, but overrides her programming with a special chip, forcing her into eternal servitude. Although she feels coerced and betrayed by the lack of free will, she agrees to love 𝐒𝐞𝐚 and secretly rule the Empire by influencing his clones for generations to come. Back in the present, as the memory of 𝐒𝐞𝐚 I finishes telling Dusk and Rue his story, he tells them that the genetic dynasty will remain strong, despite Day's plans to end it. Disappearing into darkness, he imprisons Dusk and Rue with a laser grid. On Ignis, the ritual continues, as 𝐶𝐿M tries to forcibly inhabit Gale's body. However, Salvor swoops in to save the day, using the psychic dampeners to disrupt the ritual and saving Gale in the process. Meanwhile, as the Imperial fleet surrounds Terminus and prepares to commandeer the Invictus jump ship, Bel-Riose greets Hober and Constant in a cell aboard his ship, asking for information about the castling device. Hober cooperates and explains it, but when Bel notices that Hober has been marked on the wrist by spacers, he grows suspicious. However, he is pulled away to the bridge, as Brother Day has arrived. There, Bel debriefs Day with their intel and suggests that they attempt to negotiate a peaceful end to the conflict. Surprisingly, Day agrees, and against Demerzel's wishes, chooses to personally discuss the matter with the Foundation's officials. Landing on the surface, Day is greeted by Director Seth, who leads him to the Church of the Galactic Spirit by request. Inside, Day discovers that the Church's followers are crafting advanced technology, including illegal personal auras. After forcing Polly to perform a sermon, Day condemns their actions as treason and calls their religion a cult, before stabbing Director Seth and leaving. Outside, Day catches sight of the vault and decides to see it for himself. At the same time, Bel and the Imperial fleet engage in battle with the Invictus, and Glawen leads a crew of fighter pilots into the fray. Back on Ignis, Gale and Salvor flee the Mentalix and discover the Beggar exactly where they crashed it. Handing over the Prime Radiant, Salvor stays behind to provide cover as Gale heads into the ship. However, Gale finds 𝐶𝐿M inside, and the pair begin a psychic battle. As 𝐶𝐿M forces visions into Gale's head, she is shocked when she encounters the mule, letting Gale gain the upper hand. Outside, Salvor encounters Loran, who attacks her while disguised as Hugo, leading to a vicious fight in the rain. As Day approaches the vault, he challenges Harry's godlike powers by removing his personal aura and his armor. Projecting his consciousness outside of the vault, Harry invites Day inside to discuss their predicament. In Harry's office, he tries to reason with Day, and even gives them the Prime Radiant in hopes that Demerzel can use it to forge a better future, but to no avail. Meanwhile, Glawen manages to disable the Invictus in battle, but his ship is damaged, and he spirals towards the surface of Terminus, much to the horror of Bel. With news that the Invictus is under Imperial control, Day orders Bel to force the Invictus to crash into Terminus, leaving the vault and Harry behind. On Ignis, Salvor fights off Loran long enough to make it back to the Beggar, and by trapping him in the airlock and removing the oxygen, she ends the fight for good. When Salvor tries to help Gale fight Tellum, she subdues them both. But Hari once again returns from the dead, and he bludgeons Tellum to death. Arriving back on Bel's ship, Day passes by Hober's cell, and being provoked, he orders them to be moved to the bridge. However, Demerzel receives a private alert concerning the secret prison on Trantor, and she decides to head back to the palace. When Day demands that she stays, Demerzel insults his pride and arrogance, both rejecting and abandoning him. Returning to the bridge and enraged, Day gives Bel the order to crash the Invictus, but Bel discovers at the last second that Glawen has survived and has crash-landed on the surface. Unable to refuse Day's orders, Bel and Glawen share a touching goodbye, and he executes Day's request. As Hober and Constant watch in horror, the Invictus is propelled towards Terminus with concussive mines. As the Invictus crashes into Terminus and utterly demolishes the entire planet, Day revels in his despicable act of destruction.